Imagine a world where AI not only predicts the future, but actively shapes it. Join us as we sit down with EU Digital Ambassador and AI expert Nicolas Babin to uncover the groundbreaking innovations that are set to refine our reality and redefine it. Are you ready to glimpse into your future is the question. So yeah, it's going to be a super talk. Really excited about this. So I hope you guys tune in.
Welcome to Influential Visions. Here we interview futuristic leaders who share their deep industry knowledge and business experience with you, ensuring you have your finger on the pulse and your eyes wide open. Here is your host, Nathaniel Schuyler.
Well, I am really privileged to be joined by Nicolas again. We haven't done a video for quite a while, and he is an expert that you really should know. He used to be head of Sony Europe for AI and robotics, and he launched something called Aibo, which was the talking dog, and that is the name of his book. So we're gonna have a really good conversation. Really looking forward to it. So much stuff has happened since the last time we actually did a interview, and yeah, it's actually really, really quite crazy. I'm kind of overwhelmed, Nicolas. I don't know about you.
Overwhelmed is an understatement, I would say. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Great to be online with you, Nat. Always appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. You always fill my brain up with food, you know. You give me lots of useful things to think about. But I mean, I have a few questions, and then we can kind of just, you know, we can jump around a bit and chat freely. But I mean, there's so much going on right now within AI. But I have my first question is, what are the most exciting AI innovations that you foresee in the next 5 years? And how do you think they will impact everyday life, Nicolas?
So that's the most difficult question you have ever asked me in the last 5 years. Pretty much. If you had asked me 5 years ago when we started talking, you and I wouldn't have been able to tell you what was going on today. Yet alone, you know, in the next 5 years, is going to be very hard. There are a lot of developments that obviously I experience every day. Agentic AI being one of them. Everybody's talking about agentic AI these days because it's not new, but it's trendy. It's not new because when you think about it, a vacuum cleaner, robotic vacuum cleaner is an agentic AI because it's autonomous. He does whatever his business is. When we launched Aibo was the grandfather of agentic AI. Aibo was autonomous. Aibo was based on AI, and Aibo could make his own decisions. Take a picture, decides to play with its ball, decides to go back to his charging station. That was that. So today there are definitely a lot of things, especially, you know, with what we've just learned with DeepSeek and the Chinese new R1 model. And again, this doesn't surprise me. You know, you have to remember, and I might be an expert in AI. The things that for sure I am is a veteran of AI because I started back in 1996. And, you know, from 1950, when Alan Turing decided to create his Turing test, then in 56 with the Dartmouth Congress in the US on the East Coast, and then the winters of AI were for many, many years until pretty much 93 when Sony decided to put at least AI back into everybody's framework or radar. Then you had absolutely nothing. Why? Because the technology was not ready. And even for us, when we started working on it in 93, we had to invent the technology to support an AI-based robot. So I'm talking about OS in real time, operating system in real time. I'm talking about the move. I'm talking about where to store the code. We had memory sticks, 16 megabytes of memory stick. I mean, we're laughing today because, you know, anything less than a terabyte, or at least in RAM, than a gigabyte is useless. At the time, the first Aibo was 8 megabytes of memory stick. So I'm laughing now because I've seen this change, you know, coming from basically, I joined Sony in 1996, but really at the time, and we launched in 1999. So it was really interesting to see what we had to go through in order for now to be able to use the cloud, the power of computing, the power of algorithms, the power of models that are being built because of great new languages that are also coming out in the market. So all these new technologies are coming together at a time, 5G, then going on to 6G, more bandwidth, less lead time, basically, and all these are coming at a point where it's maturing for everyone. So the technology being here, then the world is our oyster. Basically, we have so many options in order to deliver more and more and mainly in terms of AI, because AI feeds with data, and data is being structured, semi-structured as we call, and the data is now stored in many different types of databases, and that are becoming even more performant. And because of that, we see a lot of new development in AI. So today, it's hard to say in 5 years, obviously, but what I can see is that definitely AI is going to be present in every part of our lives. Already today, you at home, you have Alexa, you have Siri, you have Google Home, and you have AI. You go in your car, you have Waze, you have all different types. Even the car is full of AI. Now you can even remotely start your car if it's cold outside, and make sure that at least when you get in, the car will be hot. All this, is made thanks to 5G. It's made thanks to the Internet of Things, IoT. And so what I can say today is that we're going to move from home, car to businesses. And businesses already, you're talking about sales, marketing, you're talking about finance, you're talking about logistics and supply chain, you're talking about human resources. Every single area of the business is getting transformed using AI. So what I really see in the future is definitely, new types maybe of models, new types of chips being used, new types of ways of innovating with AI, for example, with open source, what DeepSeek has announced, which is a really great evolution, because then at least AI will be able to be shared in a very easier way, being open source. And so thanks to all these new developments, we're going to see more and more agentic type of AI progresses made into other areas. I can't say today exactly what kind of area, but what I can see is with all the different products and services that are being available today, I think in the next, maybe not weeks, but months, but definitely less than a year, we'll be shocked. If you and I had talked early January, I couldn't have predicted the R1 model that DeepSeek has come up with, right? Mm-hmm. It's totally different. It also is better for the environment because it's less energetic, so it doesn't use as much energy as the others. Right. So I think these are going to be the evolutions we're going to see. More respectful for the planet, better for companies, at a lower cost, because again, technology comes at a very high cost at the beginning, and then it goes down. I mean, we've seen it with 4G, we've seen it with 5G, we're going to see it with 6G, we're going to see it with smartphones, we see it with every type of technologies, even computers, compared to when they were launched. So all these are going to be progresses. The main point here is, I think, we're now used to see all these evolutions, and I think one very important point is we can't overreact to all these new evolutions that we're going to see, because we're on a never-ending path ever. I mean, it's literally we started hundreds of years ago, and today it's going to go faster and faster than what we've ever seen, and we see it. Again, in the last week, it's unbelievable. So let's keep our minds open. Let's keep our chakra open. Sorry, and ensure that at least we welcome these changes with, and I'm sure we'll talk about that very in the next minute or so, with ethical behavior with it, because AI and ethics need to go hand in hand. And as long as we have that together, then I think we can, benefit from technology for good and benefit from tech that is going to help us solve many more problems. And that's the key. Tech needs to help us solve problems. Tech cannot create more problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about this together since I've known you. We've been talking about this for, I think it must be 6 or 7 years now.
No, you may be right. Yes,
it could be longer, but we've talked about all of these topics: healthcare, writing as well, which is a massive topic. Stephen J. Manning, who I know you know as well, we're going to talk about writing and how AI is affecting that and what he sees in the future. He actually coined the words word salad, which is what seems to just happen. People write these word salads and they think they're being clever by using AI to write a lot of content. And actually, it's basically just drivel. A lot of this stuff, it's meaningless, and it's just like a bit like an article spinner that was used back in the day by the SEO black hat territory. They would spin up an article, it would rank on Google, and it was generally just trash, and you'd read it and it would be like, well, why am I reading this? Like, what am I reading it for? Like, it's not adding value to my life. So, you say some very important things there, and it is about value. It's about value to people's lives, right? And I mean, for example, the new iPhone has AI, it has ChatGPT built into it, it has writing tools that are within the phone itself, which is, it's quite amazing to sort of use that, right? But then, I mean, here, I'm not going to mention the word Siri very loud because Siri will talk to me, right? But if I said, I'm in the car earlier and I'm listening to some music and I said, hey Siri, turn the music off, right? Don't say a word, Siri. And you see, I knew it was going to happen. There's nothing playing. Yes, you're very smart. Now be quiet. Now, so I said this to her because I have the female voice. I prefer that. And she says, oh no, I cannot adjust anything with Amazon Alexa, because don't speak, Alexa, be quiet. And I can't actually tell Alexa what to do, right? Or I can't tell your Amazon Music what to do. So it's very interesting. The guidelines between apps and the way that these apps interact with each other are quite ridiculous. I mean, look, as another example, why can't I set up a Google meeting with you on Microsoft Teams? That's one example. Why is that not possible? It's completely possible, but these tech providers don't want to allow you to do that. My brother, actually, big shout out to my brother. I love him very much. He's worked for Intel, for lots of big tech companies, for Google and various other tech companies over the last 20 something years. And 20 plus years. And he mentioned that to me. And I was like, actually, he's right. So it's like, look, if tech companies actually thought about these problems that they're trying to solve in a deeper way, they would improve people's lives instead of hurting them, right? Which is basically causing someone hassle. It's like, okay, so I can't speak to some people on meetings because they're late, because their companies use some other they might use Zoom, they might use whatever, and I like to use Google Meet, and they're late, and I'm like, why is this person late? And then they dial in at 5 minutes to or 5 minutes past when I'm just about to leave, and it's so relevant to all of this AI stuff, and it's like, it absolutely has to help people's lives, or it just becomes a hindrance. It's just a waste of time. But the problem MIT mentioned in their top 10 technologies, which I'm not going to list, but if you want to go and look for the top 10 technologies, they do that every year. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right. But they mentioned deep fakes. And I think actually deep fakes are very, very worrying. I think they're very serious, and that's something that I did pick up out of their list this year that really did frighten me. I think the deep fakes is quite scary, if I'm honest, and that's created a lot. AI is within that, right? Like that, it's kind of included in that, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing that I will say, and I'm hoping I'll be right about this, but I've been an Edison Award judge for the last 5 years running, and I see a lot of startups in this ecosystem that are working to basically detect deep fakes and being able to tell the world that they are deep fakes. So today, at least in Europe, we have the AI Act that entered into service, if I could say, on August 1st. And the AI Act basically obliged company to use the CE label. So like any product sold in Europe, you have to have the European Commission label, EC label, and so in order to do that, you have to ensure that your AI system and your AI algorithm is not a black box anymore, and is totally transparent and based on trust. And so you have a third-party company outside of the European Commission that's going to evaluate your system and agree or not to give the label. So I'm hoping that at least in Europe, we'll see less and less deep fakes, but we've seen so many deep fakes on the US election. We've seen so many deep fakes coming from Russia, coming from North Korea, coming from many other countries. It's very scary, and I totally share your point that today this is a problem, and I don't see this as a the future of AI, obviously, but unfortunately, it's a side of AI that I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I think rather than actually using AI to detect these fakes, I think that it should pick up personally on the level of emotion that image or video could create for someone, and then it should actually warn that person that they're being triggered. It should say, Nicholas, this video is going to trigger you. Be careful. Just take a breath. Because I have people who work for massive corporations, and like they get into really heated discussions with me about Trump, about this, about that, and it's like, yeah, but your perception it means everything. Like you're perceiving something completely differently based upon everything that you've ever known and everything that you are indoctrinated with, because it is indoctrination. Absolutely. It isn't just
it's manipulation. And
absolutely.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. And it's really, really scary. So how do you see AI transforming industries like healthcare, finance, and education in the near future?
Yeah, that's a great question. In terms of healthcare, we already see great evolution, and doctors use AI everywhere. So, especially in terms of oncology or imagery. So when you do an MRI, when you do an X-ray or anything, AI-based software are there to help physicians, doctors to see things that they won't see. For example, a tumor cannot be seen by human eye if it's less than 2 millimeters of size.
Right.
Whereas an AI software will be able to see it. An AI-based algorithm will even be able to predict based on your family history, based on your lifestyle, based on the disease you had in the past. So you're talking about billions and billions of information that the system can build. And then the system can tell the doctor, well, look, this patient probably is going to develop X, Y, and Z disease. You should be looking into it. So it's, again, about human centricity. The doctor is at the center of everything, but the doctor is really helped, because there's no way a doctor today can find out, what your parents' history is, what your grandparents' history is, what your own history, because you don't see a doctor from birth to when you die, because obviously when you're born, the doctors already are 30 or 40 years old. So it's really important to have all this. So in terms of healthcare, I see really that industry to be totally transformed for the better, for the benefit of patients. In terms of finance, one of the biggest issue in finance is the fact that people are claiming financial benefits that they shouldn't have. There are risks associated to finance. AI and even RPA, robotics process automation, because when a human being has to do a repetitive task, a boring, mundane task, then RPA can come in and avoid all the mistakes. And that's one of the problems as well for companies. Most of the time, somebody enters an invoice, somebody enters a pay slip, all these things, then there potentially could be problems, because we're not robots, and as human beings we can make mistakes, and that's where AI and RPA can come in, and even together, because RPA can take care of the boring, mundane, repetitive tasks.
Sorry, I've got to interrupt. So robot process automation is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That is basically just a task that is repetitive, that is then
exactly
outsourced to a computer program, which then takes over that task, and it removes the need for humans to do anything, because it's tested. It's not AI, but it's very relevant to AI, because it can be combined with AI for decision making.
That's exactly the point.
Okay, super.
That's exactly the point. It can be combined with AI, and so he will take care of the repetitive tasks, where AI will take care of the behavior and the reflections and the thinking around the process. So that, in terms of finance, you'll see it, and we see it more and more. I mean, like Bank of America and the US have launched this chatbot type called Erica, where basically they can help people to wire money, they can help people to invest in specific products and everything. So it's really optimized by AI for your own goods, because Erica, for example, will know all your past, and will know the way you invest, the money you have, obviously, your historical data. They obviously know also about all the financial products historical data. So whether you're somebody who wants to take risks, somebody who's adverse to risk, or whatever, Erica will be able to help you out with that. So already we see great product, great benefits. So you mentioned healthcare, you mentioned finance, you mentioned another one.
Yeah, hold on a sec. On the healthcare one, just really quickly. So the UK Prime Minister, love him or hate him, I'm not commenting.
No, neither.
But he mentioned something about AI and how the UK is going to be a AI hub and everything else. Okay, that's great. Then America came along and said, okay, we're going to invest $500 billion, which kind of just says, no, I don't think so. But basically, he needs to reduce hospital, like doctors' waiting times, right? And in order to do that, you do need AI, and someone needs to come up with a plan, but you also combine that with the robot process automation of sending text messages to remind people that they've got an appointment in an hour or 2 hours time, and that if they're going to be late, they can reschedule it. And then it's like, well, then you can bump up the queue. You can go further to the beginning of the queue if you are on a quick waiting list, right? So it's like these super simple things, which are just like, they're so like no-brainer things. And the UK have been talking about these things for years. Well, we're going to reduce waiting times. Okay, so when are you going to do it? What are you doing? Like, but it's back to that, isn't it? It's like, what outcome do you want? Everything's just about planning the outcome, isn't it? And deciding what you want.
You're absolutely right. And there's so many simple examples of where that could be implemented. For example, in hospitals, when you have a surgery, first you need to meet with your surgeon. Then you need to meet with the anesthesiologist. Then you need to go to administration in order to do all the paperwork. So let's see that, if you do in a row, so you start with the surgeon, and the surgeon is half an hour late, which happens regularly because he's in the operating room. Then that means your appointment with the anesthesiologist is either canceled or pushed back, which means that you can't go to administration. With an AI system, it will be optimized, and you can just go see the surgeon, because that's the most important in terms of your surgery. And then after that, your file will follow through, and go either to the anesthesiologist, but you don't have to meet, or at least the anesthesiologist can just contact you later on or whatever. But it can all be optimized by an AI system. it's a blockchain AI that basically will help you to go from block to block and allow for you not to waste any time and not to waste any time to any doctors. And there are so many simple examples, but at this stage, it's more a change management project because doctors and administrative people are not used to this. So there's a lot of investment that is needed in order to make people understand the benefits of technology and the benefits of AI. That's why, in terms of healthcare, I mean, I could talk about it.
We could talk for ages on that. But you mentioned blockchain, and that's just so that the records can't be changed, right? That's basically why you're talking about
it's
blockchain.
Date stamped. Exactly, it's date stamped, and it goes from block to block.
I forget the word I was looking for. It's some long word that most people won't know what the hell I'm talking about, so I won't even use it. But it basically means that you cannot change that record. It's a permanent record, the same as all of these crypto sales. They're permanently there. And
crypto is based on blockchain technology. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. So education. I know you don't have long because you've got a meeting, but education is a massive topic. I personally, I've heard about what's going on in America. They're doing a lot of trials over there with all sorts of different bits and pieces that are going on. So what do you think about education in the near future? Do you think that it's gonna get better? Is it gonna get worse?
No, it's gonna get better. What's the main goal of education? Is to prepare students to be good in their jobs. I mean, it's down to that, right? A teacher needs to teach a student in order that when he leaves school and he starts a job, he's performant. That's basically it. So today, yes, they'll need to change the way they are doing they are teaching, because you have access, students have access to ChatGPT, for example, but it's not new. Like 20 years ago, there was Wikipedia that was launched, right? And when Wikipedia was launched, all the teachers were really upset. Yeah, Wikipedia is going to replace us. Students are going to copy paste and everything. We've seen that is not the case. So today, rather than, and I've seen it in the US, they are starting to ban, some campuses ban ChatGPT. And to me, it's the opposite that needs to happen. They need to welcome ChatGPT, and they need to change the way they are teaching. For example, when you have a student that does a fantastic work on a specific topic, then what do? You bring that student in front of the class, and you tell the student, please explain all your findings and all your work that you've done. If he has done
and your process, your process,
and the thought process, absolutely. If the student has done a copy paste from ChatGPT, he'll never be able to do that, and guarantee once you get him caught once, he'll never do it twice. So that's why I do a lot of conferences to universities, and I was last night actually doing one to a very known business school here in France, and that's exactly what I explained to teachers, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, actually it makes sense." So, teach them how to use ChatGPT, because when they arrive in their first job, they're going to need to use ChatGPT, because all the people around them will use ChatGPT. So if they are the only ones who don't know about ChatGPT, they'll look like morons. Sorry.
100%. Well, they will. They will. I mean, it's 100%.
So education is definitely going to be something where AI will definitely help, for sure.
Absolutely. But look, we're going to do another one of these every month. So I'm really excited about that. I think that we're going to have lots of good conversations throughout the rest of the year, and hopefully onwards. And
absolutely,
it's really always an absolute joy to speak with you, Nicolas. And if anyone's listening to this, you're still here, and you want to get involved and learn more about your education, and really get to grips with your strategic direction and the direction of your success in life and business, then please do go to mondayinfluencer.com, and you'll find that will be really, really useful for you, where we do lots of great things. So go and check that out, and I'll drop a link somewhere around as well. And thank you so much, and do always drop us questions and comment on this video if you feel like it. Thank you.
Thanks very much for listening to Influential Visions. Please make sure you share this episode with your friends and business connections. And don't forget to drop us a review wherever you listen. Thanks.